Hey there, Jim Falkenstein. I'm running for Ashland City Council, position number 6. Hope you vote for me. I'm always trying to share as much information about my ideas and my concerns and thoughts as possible. So, if you missed this Sunday, we had a panel discussion. It was sponsored by the AAUW, American Association of University Women, and Mountain Meadows Democrats Plus. And what they did was they asked 5 questions provided beforehand. We were given a chance to 1-minute answers, so that was a bit of a challenge. And then afterwards there were 5 questions from the audience, also 1-minute answers. And so I had a friend of mine videotape my version of it. Sorry, I didn't do the whole thing, but apparently Channel 5 videotaped it, and there is discussion as to when that might show up on a YouTube channel. But for the moment, I wanted to share all of my answers to all the questions. So here is a quick video, it's about a 10-minute of the 10 question responses from me, and then the questions beforehand, and I hope it's illuminating, and I feel good, although rushed, about my answers, and I hope you think about voting for Jim Falkenstein for Ashland City Council, position 6. Ballots are coming out soon. Thank you.
Top issue is water security. Okay, as a city councilor, we only have so much effect that we can have on certain issues at certain times, but no matter what your priority is in life or in this town, we need clean drinking water, and we have Reeder Reservoir above us, and I think as a city council, we should be focusing as much as we can on maximizing the size of the water we have there. In the past, we've had studies about dredging it possibly, or upstream storage units, or maybe raising those highs of the dam. Those were rejected in the past because they're pretty expensive, right? However, let's face it, things are different now, and the entire West is going through a drought, and I think we can look forward to state and federal grants coming in the future, and as long as the city, we prepare some projects possibly for those grants and we pursue them, then I think we're going to be in a better spot than other places. And so as a city councilor, we have the tap supply which comes from Medford. We are obligated, we have 3.0 million gallons a day we can get from that, but because of the pipe's small
Thank you,
problems,
Jim.
it's only 2.1. We need to maximize that. Hey, for any problem, there's no one single solution. So let me throw out a couple of them on this one. I mean, I want to think about simple maintenance. I mean, it seems like such low-hanging fruit, but the downtown area is the city's front door, and it should be kept clean. And if there's arguments about who's emptying garbage cans and keeping them clean between different departments at different times. It seems bananas, but apparently it feels like a no-brainer. So I intend to bring my brain to that. And another thing to think about is promotion. The city needs to work with the Chamber of Commerce and Travel Ashland to broaden the traditional promotion. I mean, I love a winery and a Shakespeare festival as much as the next person, but we need to look at other ways aside from just a magazine ad and maybe some social promotion so that we get different people here for different reasons during different seasons. And then number 3, we need to make sure the people who work downtown are able to live in the city of Ashland. So I want to look at making some more housing opportunities for our workers in a smart way in the urban growth boundary. In my mind, the beginning part is when you're involved in a conversation or a tough discussion, you need to allow the most frustrated person to get out all of their ideas. Let them feel heard. Usually somebody doesn't feel like they've been getting enough attention, so you've got to let people sometimes behave poorly, use rougher language than you're comfortable with. Be patient and listen and let them get their ideas out. That's the beginning part, okay? Once you get past the first flush, right, then the second thing is you have to ask wise questions of everyone around. Not just the person you're talking to, but other people involved in the discussion. Not just to get information for yourself, but to make sure you all are sharing the same information. You're kind of working from a similar sense of facts, the basics anyway. And then number 3, you need to present your perception and your ideas on the issue. You need everyone else to know where you stand and that you're willing to continue working on some disagreements. And once you have those 3 things in place, I think the next time you have a conversation, you will be moving forward from a much better place and get to a better resolution over time. Thank you. I want to talk about an issue that basically got me thinking about running for office, and it was 4 years ago. The city wanted to pipe the TID, which is above the university there, you know, between Park Street and Lithia. And I used to run along there, and I said, "Oh, I don't want to pipe that. It's cool, open like that." So there were some signs up, and I contacted the Public Works Department. Had a nice discussion with Kevin over there and a bunch of people about why they were doing it, what their ideas were, and trying to figure out what the process was. And they said, you know, really it's a city council issue. So then you got to shift your focus. And I went to the city council and I was like, city council, what is your feeling on why you think this is important to do? And I was collecting information and they said they were about 50-50 on it. So I realized during that time, I had come across a number of like-minded people and I was trying to clarify information and I made some videos about the process and was bringing people together who were on my, who were kind of like-minded like me, and we just kind of created more and more information, brought more and more people together, and then we brought that presentation to the city council a number of times. And the city council sided with us, and that was pipeline was not approved. And so I feel like I brought a consensus of people together and accomplished something that was save us money. And let's face it, that would have been a big, empty, expensive pipe up there right now.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Regina. I've been a big proponent of looking to wisely expand the urban growth boundary, which the city hasn't done for far too long. I think it's the most reasonable and efficient way to get a decent amount of housing for a decent amount of people. Whether or not it's might even be more apartments than people would prefer, but you might say that it's reasonably priced apartments isn't the same as workforce housing or affordable housing, and that's quite possibly true. But I mean, let's face it, the city is not in the business of financing a public housing project. If we wanted to look at something like that, you could look at the Snowberry project, you know, between Clay Street and the YMCA. That's built by the Jackson County Housing Authority, and we have a good partnership for that process, and those are truly affordable houses. And so if you want to look specifically at very affordable stuff, there's not enough incentives for the city to get to a regular builder. But if we start to expand the urban growth boundary, find some spots, maybe we can work with Jackson County in a process like that, and I would look forward to doing that. You know, I've never heard a single business owner say, "Hey, I went to the Ashland Planning Department. It was so easy." Never. It's always been a problem. And recently, Councilor Graham mentioned that we hired an extra person to help explain how the whole process works, which it seems bananas to hire somebody to explain what other people are doing. But silver lining, guys, we got there's an opportunity for a new planning department director. The old guy, God bless him, he retired, and so we have an opportunity that maybe we could bring in somebody that's going to just kind of clarify what's going on over there for the average person who comes in, and then we can actually work with a new planning department to kind of look at the way the city council can help them adjust fees and minimize and clarify and streamline that whole process. I mean, it seems pretty easy. It's not easy, of course, obviously, but it seems like a good direction to go. And and of course, housing for our workers. Can't go wrong with getting more housing in Ashland for Ashland workers. Thank you. I think Serge, Social Equity and Racial Justice Commission that you were referring to either has been advocating for an equity officer within the city for a long time. Somebody who was a full-time employee who's reminds everybody in the city to be a better human being, and through a variety of training. And it's been kind of it's a person that costs money. So it seems like, oh, we're fine. We don't need this person. But I think if we all know that Nataki Garrett, who runs the SOU, put Ashland in the national news because there have been death threats against her and she has private security, and apparently there is some kind of reason why they weren't working with the Ashland Police Department. I know they're all starting to talk again, and so we can all look and go like, okay, we're not talking to each other. Obviously, we're not getting the right information back and forth amongst each other. And so previously I was not thinking it was important to get an equity person, and I have changed my mind. I think it's important for the city of Ashland to hire a full-time equity person to deal with all the city staff and businesses in town. All right, we talked about the ordinances now. You guys ready? I'm going to vote yes on both of them, and I encourage you all to do the same. In the next couple of days, I will have a statement on why I believe that is the best route for the city of Ashland. I do not worry that the Parks Department will be well supervised by the Parks Commission, which is elected. And the way I see it, and let's face it, it has not been explained exactly very well how this thing's going to shake out. But right now, I think if you vote yes, the Parks Department will be the same as the police department, will be the same as the fire department, and that they will all report chain of command style to the city manager, right? And so, and then ultimately, this Ashland City Council is kind of responsible for police and fire and electric and public utilities. And guess what? No one gets fired by the city council. And so also the Parks Department is going to be under the auspices of the elected Parks Commission as well, and then goes down through the city manager. And guess what? You know, that's not how hiring and firing happens if this new structure passes. So I feel confident that it's not going to affect parks negatively at all, and it'll just make things smoother and save us a lot of insurance money, by the way. Look forward to my statement. Thank you so much. I'm going to focus on the fact that the questionnaire was looking at the next 2 years and what can Ashland do in the next 2 years for climate. And I would suggest that Ashland is doing a lot. They have been. A lot of the problems that dissatisfaction I think a lot of us have in the government is we don't really understand what Ashland is doing. There is a water conservation plan which is delightful. It's got a lot of options. They've got opportunities. They will come out to your house. They will provide low flow water heads and do water surveys and all that stuff. It's buried on page 4,000 on the webpage though, so if you even know where it is, it takes you forever to find. We need to clarify information that we have, programs that we have to the citizens, and work harder to get that information out there. We've got Firewise people who will come and check your homes, and they know that's underfunded, and the commission is in flux at the moment. But that opportunity is available for every citizen of Ashland, and we need to clarify that. There's a lot of information out there. The city's doing a lot, and for the next 2 years, we should work on what we've already got going and clarify that to the rest of the citizenry and push forward on those things.
Thank you. Jim Falkenstein.
Thank you, Regina, AAUW, the Mountain Meadows Democrats Plus, and all of you people for coming, and the workers in the student area up there. Thank you guys, and that's a bit of a thing to do. So, hey, look, I want you all to think that this is an Ashland City Council race, and you're going to vote for 3 new councilors. And I don't want you to think that you're voting for 3 different people that are just going to carry on in the same disagreeable way. I think what you want to do is vote for 3 people who are going to work for you, and 3 people who are going to work with you to bring your ideas to the city. I think it's important to know that as a counselor, I feel a responsibility to help synthesize and find the best ideas in our city and bring them to the city. And maybe that's going to require some shifting amongst some city staff that have other projects and other priorities. But I think a city councilor's job is to represent the people of the city and bring those ideas forward, and then maybe amend some of the directions and some of the ideas that are already pre-existing in it. And I don't think that it's disrespectful to come to a city staff member or to a department head and say, hey, look, I put a lot of work into this, maybe we should shift it around. And it comes down to, I think, a pretty basic thing I always told my kids. It's rarely what you say, it's usually how you say it. Okay, and if we can all do this process in a positive way, where we can all work together and be respectful and yet still have, some disagreements, I think that, what was I going to say at the end there? Man, I got rolling in the wrong direction, didn't I? Well, something about that. Anyway, I think a good civilized discussion amongst the councilors in the city, I think is going to be a launching point for the progressive movement towards a lot of our solutions. And we can all work together and make Ashland cool again. Thank you. Jim Falkenstein. By the way, Jim Falkenstein.